basically what we've done. We've got the insert now, gotten rid of the insert. You need something to wrap it around, and a pencil or pen, anything will work really that's going to keep space there. A little piece of wood, dowel, blah blah blah, whatever. Doesn't really matter as long as it keeps space, because you're going to need room to weave in and out when you start to actually make the basket. So the first step now is to wrap this around like that 24 times. So I'll show you here. Okay, so you're going to wrap it around like that 24 times, making sure it's nice and even, nice and, well, hard to make it not even if you're wrapping it around in a circle. Yeah, just making sure that they're nice and tight together. Don't wrap it tight, but push them tight so that they're not spaced too far apart. Make sure they're nice and snug. And yeah, wrap it not loose, but leave yourself a little bit of, a little bit of give there. Yeah, so I'll wrap this and show you what it looks like when we get towards the end of that. Hey, what's up guys? Alright, so for this week I'm just going to show you guys how to make a basket with 550 cord. Now what I've done here is I've taken out the insert of the 550 paracord, and I'll hold the camera here so you can see how that's done. So I've just wrapped it around something, that way it doesn't get all tangled, and then you just pull it, and yeah, just keep pulling it until it's all the way out. And then once it's all the way out, I'll show you what to do next. Work on this for a bit. Alright guys, so check it out. I've done this one here. That's a bit farther away than it should be. But I've done this one here. This one here. Now, if you notice, this one on the right's a bit looser and not really evenly spaced, and this one's a bit tighter and a little more, lines are a bit more parallel. That's fine. It's a lot easier to make it, just throw them all in there, and then when you get done doing one or two, you just make sure they're not too tight, after you fed it through. So this is where you start. You're feeding it through here, and if you see here, when you go last two, that's under, over, and then under when you go back down. So see how that, when you go underneath to start with, you're going under, over, bam, at the top, all the way back down to the bottom. Okay, so as we can see, I've got it wrapped around. That is 24 times. And what we're going to do now is slide out the pin. If you notice, I've got my thumb there to kind of hold that in place. Slide out the pin, and now we've got room to start doing our weaving. I'll go ahead and do the first little bit, and then hop back on and show you what it looks like. Alright, so it's pretty simple. All it is, if you can see here, this is where the starts. So I've got 24 on this side, 24 on this side, either side of where the starts at the top. And then to the right of that, you're going to go ahead and feed it through. So That's my line there. Feed through 2, over 2, let's see, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, so on and so forth, like this. Now what I've done is, keep the camera there, what I've done is I've sharpened up the tip here so that it's a bit easier to weave in and out. And then it's over, under, over, under, over, under, until we get to the top. And the way that I made this end was just a lighter, and then kind of pinched it together with my fingers. I would say do not use your fingers if you cannot stand some pain, because it's a bit hot, but at the end, see, it's a bit hard there, so you can use it to weave in and out. So then that's one, weaved in and out, and you loop it back down like this, and run it back down the same way, 2, 2, 2. So I'm going to do that a little bit more and then show you what that looks like. So, see how that, when you go underneath to start with, you're going under, over, bam, at the top, all the way back down to the bottom. Now, again, the type is really what you want, 7, 8 loops, but at least around 7, because that's the tightening points at the top. And if you don't have very many loops up here, because this is the top of the bag, so these are where they're going to be, the loops going to go through to pull it tight. And you need at least 7 of these, because that way it pulls from all sides of the bag, and it's not just pulling from this corner, and it's all loose or anything like that. And these are tight knit that way. That's a bit messy there, but that way nothing can fall in and out. It's fairly tight. And you can also make it a bit looser and make it more like a net, but it's really not going to come out that well. The tighter, the better, as long as it's not too tight. That's not true. Not tighter, better, but there. So I'll do some more and then pull it back up. Alright, so as you can see here, we've gone all the way around. It's a bit messy. Now the reason it looks so messy is because I tried something new this time, which is take out the insert. So the other one didn't look as scraggly. That'll obviously fix out once I take it off. It'll loosen up and straighten out a bit, but for now it's going to look like that. Okay, anyway, so now that we've made it to the end, I've done 9 because this is a bit bigger than the can which I used before. So before I just used a regular can, and that's big enough, and then that's actually like the perfect size. If you see here, it's like, see how it fits right on there. Anyways, so now that we've gotten here, we've come all the way around. If you can see here on this last little bit, it weaves in and out the exact same, but the one to the right of it looks a bit off. So you see how those look a bit off there? That's because it's overlapping from the start point, which was over here. So I left a little bit of extra string here. That's the start point, so it's an overlap. That's why it looks a bit messy. Okay, so anyways, now that we've reached that point, I'll pull it down real quick. See what I'm talking about? Okay, so I pulled it down to the bottom of the bottle. That way we can get a nice firm surface. So the loop is pretty simple if you see how it works. Here. Okay, so it's coming out here, under, and then through. And that's it. You're going to tighten that up and then repeat the process between every single piece on the bottom. So this is the top here. Now we're looking at the bottom to make the very bottom here. And then you're just going to loop it like I showed you and repeat that all the way around. I'll show you again in a couple minutes. Alright, so I don't know if you can see it here, but we've got loops all the way around. Okay. So then when we get back to this point where we started, all you're going to do is just bam, go right back. Just keep going. So just keep cascading them onto each other. Bam, 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 bam. And if you notice here, I started with 9 loops here, and I've got one in between each one of those loops. So that means I've got 9 up here, and then you just keep going. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've just gone around and around and around and around, so I've gotten to this point here. You can keep pulling it back away from the lip, so that way you can make this tighter, but I didn't actually want it to be too tight because I just didn't. I just wanted the bottom to be quite open because I wanted shit to be able to fall in and out of there. I wanted the sides to be tight, but so that's good for my bottom. But if you wanted to make yours tighter, you could do that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to loop it around through here a couple times just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere else. So there it is, basically all finished up. This is some excess rope to cut here and then loop it around and make little drawstrings. But other than that, we're pretty much done. So now this is going to serve as multiple purposes here. Once you put a drawstring in it, it's like a little pouch you can throw stuff in. It's a koozie. Keep your drink cool while it's in your hand, or keep your hand warm while the cold drink's in there. Or it's also, at the very least, 30 feet of 550 rope. Well, it would be rope, except I just put an insert, so it's 550 paracord. Part of it, anyways. I don't know. I'd use the whole thing. I don't know. Looking at this one and the other one that I have, I'll show the other one on another video, but I mean, they're both about good. This thing's going to be able to hold pretty much anything you put in it. So there's that, and yeah.